Well, the great thing for me, both about doing Silo and Bass Reeves, is the fact that I literally cannot spot the difference between them being TV or them being a film. I mean, the scope and scale. Both Silo and Bass Reeves had budgets the likes of which no film I've done could match those budgets. So, what is film, what is TV these days? I mean, with Bass Reeves in particular, I've been trying to get this story told for 8 years, and I've got to say, I never anticipated it being possible for it to be told with this kind of budget, with this kind of scope, with this kind of scale, with this kind of support, because to be honest, that's not what I have experienced when it comes to these kind of stories, and I've done a few of them in my career. So yeah, it feels like we just made an 8-hour movie. Well, Chad, that's my guy. He just did such an extraordinary job of cracking the code. As a family man himself, as am I, we really zoned in on this idea of the pressure this job must have had on this man's family. And as a man who needed to be away from home so much, and that being something that anyone and everyone could relate to, because we also, while tipping the hat to the Western genre, we wanted it to be something that anyone and everyone could relate to. And so we really met eye to eye on that being the way in. And so collaborating with him and the writer's room that he corralled was just such a joy, because for me, in the stories of this nature that I've wanted to tell, and these characters that I wanted to play, it's always comes from, how do we humanize the person? How do we really go into those corners that anyone and everyone can relate to? And Chad was pretty amazing with that. Yeah, I would say the most challenging part of playing Bass Reeves was the stamina you needed for a 5 to 6 month shoot, because it was incredibly physical. I was in most scenes. We were dealing with incredibly inclement weather in Texas. It went from being so cold to so stinking hot, and yeah, just the inherent challenges of a big show, mounting a big show. We also had these looming strikes as well. Chad had to leave us because of the writer's strike. So there were just so many things that were thrown at us, and producing whilst also playing the role was its own challenge, but all of it was worth it, because again, it had taken a long time for it to come to fruition, and there were twice where we had gone out with it, I had gone out with it, and everyone turned it down. So the fact that it was now getting made was the fuel that certainly kept me going. I don't know. Selma was a 7-year journey. Another film I did called The United Kingdom was another 7-year journey. This has been an 8-year journey, so they're getting longer, not shorter. So I don't know that I should do too many more of them. But I do gravitate towards these stories because for me, they have it all. They have scope, scale, incredible story, incredible characters, and they are a means of moving the culture forward. I just don't get why it's taken this long for a Bass Reeves story, a story centered around him, to be told, much like I couldn't get my head around that being the case for Martin Luther King. And so righting that wrong is something that definitely gets me out of bed on any given morning. I don't know what the next one will be, but yeah, I guess I just have to accept it's one of the things I love to do. Well, firstly, thank you for what you said there about what these projects look like. That's imperative. Traditionally, historically, films centering Black people, especially when it comes to those who truly moved the needle historically, have not been afforded the production value and the import that they should. And so that has always been the thing to truly fight for. If I'm totally honest, Bass Reeves is the first time I can say that we truly got the bells and whistles. On the other projects I've done, you're sort of scraping and scrimping to have that production value integrity. But in terms of moments that I'm proud of, I mean, in the first episode, there's this card game that plays out between myself and Shea Wiggum. And I'm so moved and proud of Shea Wiggum in that scene, because so many actors turned that role down because they were so, maybe understandably, concerned about how they would be perceived for playing that role. And he just came in so brave, so generous, so determined to tell the truth. And that was a true act of love, to come in and be that despicable, to be that truthful, to be that heinous, in order to really give me the opportunity to play the entire truth of what that must have felt like for Bass, because we know historically that card game is supposed to have happened. And I think that's one of the moments I'm most proud of, because it really sets up the character in terms of him having a ferocity to him, but also such a keen sense of justice.